It is Thursday afternoon, March 12th, and I'd like to provide you with a brief update as to how Encompass World Partners is caring for our missionaries scattered as they are around the world. Just completed a video giving them some additional information. I'd like to summarize it for you. First off, we want our missionary team to know their options. We want them to know, for example, that they have permission to move towards safety. If they feel like their lives are in jeopardy for some reason, something that's outside of their control, especially for those that might have compromised immune systems or other health issues, they have permission to move towards safety, and they also have permission to alter their plans. Many of them are making plans to travel, to attend conferences, to be engaged in ministry in other parts of the world, perhaps even to come to the U.S. on their home ministries. Those things involve cost and changing tickets, but we are giving them permission to alter their plans. And of course, we're also giving them permission to spend the money that's needed to be able to make sure that they are as safe as is prudent. So they're given permission now to even spend beyond their budget, and we believe that God will provide. We want our missionaries to know their options. We also, though, are requiring them to make contingency plans. So within the next 48 hours, we've instructed all of our global team to tell us that they have prepared for any kind of mandatory quarantine and that they have thought through the implications should they or one of their family members become acutely ill. What is the hospital plan? What kinds of medical facilities might they need access to? And we're going to have those things, of course, on record here in Atlanta at the Mobilization Center. But not only are we requiring them to have plans, we here are also preparing for contingencies so that we can be sure to supply the basic services that our team needs around the world. So we want them to know their options. We're requiring them to make contingency plans. But finally, we're also encouraging our team to see opportunities. I had a great conversation with one of our staff this morning. They informed me that their local church plant has decided to cancel services on Sunday, but simultaneously they've gone to the mayor of their city and said, our church is here to help and to serve you and to serve this community in any way that we can. And I love his words. He said, we may cancel, but we won't hide. And that really captures the spirit of our team. The story of missions is the story of men and women willing to move toward pain, toward uncertainty, toward upheaval, toward crisis. And many times we know that the greatest spiritual harvests come out of uncertain times and tough circumstances. Your missionaries know this. They signed on for it. And we want our staff to be prudent, but we also are encouraging them to be on mission. So how can you and I help during these uncertain days? Well, first off, I'd encourage you to be careful not to put unnecessary pressure, to avoid pressuring our staff around the world. In our enthusiasm to show concern, to be helpful, we might unintentionally put more stress upon them than is necessary. They really don't need us to forward articles to them. They have access to more information than they can process. They don't need us to pressure them for updates. Let's be patient and allow them to tell us when they have the opportunity to do that, what's happening in their lives and ministry. They don't need those things, but they do need us periodically to remind them that we love them, that we are praying for them, that we care about them. And of course, speaking of prayer, if we're going to avoid pressure, let's increase prayer. And I'm not asking for more prayer just for safety's sake, but for impact. Your missionaries are on mission. They understand risks and they've embraced them. And so let's increase our prayer for them in these days. Well, I certainly don't know how this crisis is going to end, but I do know God, and I know the history of missions. And I know that God often uses uncertain times to bring about spiritual awakening and often to call attention to himself among people who in better times are not willing to listen to God's message. Our team is counting on your prayers. They're counting on your support. And Lord willing, we look forward to sharing with you over the next weeks and months many stories of how God used your missionaries to bring hope and to bring change into very troubled times in our world.